Welcome again to my YouTube channel, and if you are new here, I would like to say a very special welcome to you, and make sure you check out my videos, and if you do like what you see, try and subscribe. And today's video, this is what we're going to be creating today. We're going to be creating this cool sleek slideshow. So this is actually part 3 out of the 5-part basic slideshow that I've been doing, and I'm pretty sure you've been learning a lot. If you have, please let me know in the comment section. And don't forget, the project file is found in the link in the description. Make sure you download it so you can actually tag along and have access to all the video and picture assets that I have. And then let's get to it. So before we start, I would like to show you that I have actually imported some of my assets. So I have this video asset and the still images I'm going to be using for this tutorial. So you have them here. And of course, the project file is found in the link in the description. Make sure you download it so you can have access to the same files that I do here. So the very first thing I like to do is to create a couple of compositions that we're going to be using for this. I'll click on new composition and I'm going to name this scene 01. The full HD option is fine. 30 frames per second, 10 seconds long, it's okay. That's the first composition. Second one is going to be my image, so I'm going to type image 01, but then I'm going to change the resolution here. This one will be 800 and the height to be by 900. 30 frames per second, 10 seconds long is okay. We can always come back and adjust all of this. Click OK. Then I'm going to click this again. Then I'm going to name this my transition. Then I'm going to switch this back to full HD option. Make sure it's at 30 frames per second and click OK. Basically, those are like the composition we'll be creating. So let me show you the compositions, the transitions, scene 1 and image 01. Okay, so let's go into image 01. Let's double click this and let's bring in our first image. So let's bring this in, then I'll just adjust this accordingly. Let me just make it bigger a little bit. We have this. Go to our scene 1 and then I'll bring in the image that I've created. Let me just drag this here. I have this here. Before I move on, let me just quickly tidy this up so I can be really organized. Just going to fast forward this part. I just now have them arranged in my folders in the project panel. That's basically what I've done. So first I'll reduce the scale to 80. Then I'll activate my actions title save. So I'll know how to position it. So I'll click this and then I'll just drag it to this second part here. I'll use my line to make sure it's centralized, which is fine. Then I'll click this again. Then I'll duplicate. So I'll go to the one under. Then I'll increase the scale to about 350. That will be quite large. Then I'll just position it in a way that I can see the lady like this. Then on this one, I'll apply fast box blur. So I'm going to use FX console from Video Copilot, fast box blur. Click on it. Then I'll just increase this by 7 pixels, and that is okay. I'll click on repeat X pixels. Now I can see that this is actually quite bright. What I'll do, I'll right click, create a solid, make sure it's dark. Click OK. I'll just name this overlay background, so BG. Make comp size so to fit the whole screen. I'll click OK. We have this and I'll just drag this below and then I'll reduce the opacity to about 70%. We have something like this. Let me uncheck this title action save. Next is to create this box around my image. Click on my rectangle tool, then I'll do something like this. Let me change the color to white. So I'll do something like this so I know it's fitting. Then I'll click this, then change this from no fill. Then I'll go to the stroke and I'll click on this, make sure it's white. So I'll make sure it's 6 pixels. Let me just rename this image stroke. Then I'll click this, then I'll just reposition it, right? Just make it a little bit of offset of the image, which is something like this. I think I'm satisfied with this. Then I'll also create another rectangle. Then I'll just zoom in a little bit. Then try and draw a little bit of rectangle like this. This time around, I'll take away the stroke. Then I'll add the fill. Okay, and I'll zoom out to see what I'm doing. Fit the screen. Click OK. So I'll click this. Then I'll change the color to the color that I've prepared for this. And I'll click OK. And I'm just going to name this text number BG because it's a number. I'll put the text number there. I'll click this and I'll put 01. The font I'm using is Dane Pro, just in case you're interested, and I'm just going to reduce this a lot to fit in. So let me just zoom in. Okay, maybe something like this would do. Let's do 65. Okay, and make sure it's centralized. So I can just select this and this, go to my align to make sure they're aligned perfectly. But then I'll take the number and this and just readjust in the way that I want it. Maybe this would do. Then go back to fit to screen. Next thing is to create a background text for the name. So I'm going to come here, click on my rectangle once again, then do this, maybe something like this. Then I'm going to take this, I'm going to name it text BG, and I'm going to take the text, duplicate this, bring this up. I'll switch to the move tool, drag this here, double click, and title this Linda Ray. These are just made up names. Now here I'm going to go to the tracking. I'm just going to change it back to 0. We are getting there. Let me just try and color this so that I can easily recognize what I'm doing. So I'm going to take all of this to image stroke, and I'm just going to change the color to orange. Then take this, change the color to yellow so I can easily recognize. So I know that all of this are in one set. So the next thing I want to create is the text beside it. I can easily just take this, duplicate, then bring this text beside, and I'm just going to double click this. I'm going to title this Modern Slideshow. Then I'm going to go to my character, and I'm going to increase this, let's say by 85, and I'm going to check this Fox bold. Hope I got that right, and I'm just going to position it this way. Make sure I'm fit to screen. Let me activate my action type to see if I can just reposition it this way. I want to be above the middle line. I have this text here. I'm going to let this one be yellow as well, so I can easily recognize it. The next thing is to have those accents. So I'll create new solid, change this to white, click OK. I'm going to name this small dot. I'll click OK. And then I'm going to look for effect called CC Gridler. This is the first one. Then I'm just going to come here, impute this value is -17. Then I'll also do -17 on the vertical scale too. We have this small dot. Then all I need to do is to scale it down. Press S to scale it down, something like this. And I'll just drag it somewhere here. And then I'm going to put it below and above the overlay BG. We have that there, and I'm just going to duplicate this and bring this somewhere here. This might be a little bit big, so I can just scale this one some more. Okay, so we have something like this. I think I'm quite happy with this. I feel like this is too big as well, so I'm just going to go back to this. I'm going to use my mask and just draw something like this. Let's see. Yeah, something like this is fine. We have more of a rectangular thing going on there. I can click on this to reduce the opacity to about, let's say 80, then click this opacity to this to about, let's say 60. They are just design assets, they shouldn't take away from the design. Then we have two more things to create. I'm going to click on my text. I'm going to use plus, and I'm just going to use my motion tool script here to make sure the anchor point is at the center. So let me just move this around, then put this in this position, maybe somewhere here. I can increase this here, or I can just increase it in the scale. If I increase it here, the anchor point keeps shifting. So I think the best thing is to increase the scale. So I have something like this. Let me drag it low so it will not be above this. Just trying to align everything here. So I'm just going to fit to screen. And then the last thing is to duplicate this text, put it below or even below the overlay. And then I'm going to increase this bunch. I'm going to use the scale, increase it a lot, then make sure it is centralized. You can see increase it maybe a little bit more, something like this. Now select this. I'll swap the fill for the stroke. Then I have something like this. Then I'll come here and check the box bold first, and then I'll reduce this to, so let's do 1. But then I'm going to change the blend mode from normal to overlay. Now we have that cool thing going on there. Let me still take this and reduce this to, let's say 0.8. I think we are good with that. Now the last thing is to create the bars. So I'm going to go to solid, then I'm going to change this to black. I'm going to click OK, then change this to black bars. So I'll click OK. And then with this, I'm just going to use my rectangle tool to create a mask. So I'll zoom out a little bit, then I'll just try and target this area here. So let's do this. So I'll light this and then try and use my arrow icon to just adjust accordingly. Then all I need to do is to just come here and click on invert on the mask. If I do so and fit to screen, we have this cinematic thing going on here. But I actually do think, let me take away the action save, that the bars are actually too wide. So let us reduce it. So I'll click this. All I'll do is just highlight this and I'll just push this up twice. 1, 2, using my arrow key. Come here, push this down twice. 1, 2, using my arrow key. If I do fit to screen again, we have something really cool like this. I think I'm really happy with this. The design is set. It's now time for us to start animating. Okay, before we start animating, let me make some tiny adjustments to the small dot. So I'll click this dot. I think I'd like to drag it further down a little bit, further down like this, and we'll position it. Maybe something like this would do. Then take the other dots and just bring it up. Okay, I think I'm satisfied with that. So let's start animating. So the very first thing I like to animate is the image. So the one below is the image 01 background, and I'll take this. I'll go to 2-second mark and I'll just press P for position. I'll set this here, go back, then drag this to the side. So we have something like this. But then I need to also animate. All of this should also move. So I'll select this. I'll select my text BG down to my Blender ray, all of this, and I'm going to parent them to the image stroke. So if I parent them to the image stroke, I will take this and I will now apply position animation to this. I'll press B and I apply position animation to this, set this, and also take this back and let me zoom out a little bit and drag this to the side. Just the way it was here. If I scroll this, we have this coming together, which is cool. So I'll go to the 1-second mark. I'll go to my 2 dots, click them, and press P for position and set this, and then drag this back, and then I'll just slide them a little bit to the side, like this. So I'm going to go to the main text here. I'm going to go to 1.5 seconds. I'll press P and I'll set this here, go back in time, then drag this to the side a little bit. So all of them are sliding it from the right basically. I'll go to my text background. I'll set position here, set this here, and then this, I just want that to be like more like a continuous animation movement. I'll just drag this to the side a little bit. So we have like slide this now, and it's to just keep going basically. So let me just play this to see how that will look. So it's actually going the opposite direction. I want it to go the other way. So the simple fix is I can highlight this, then right click, take keyframe assistant, just click on time reversal keyframe, and then if I play it now, my focus is on the text background. So just in case, if I play this now, it should just go accordingly. So it just keeps going. It's a continuous animation. So all I need to do right now, I think I've animated everything, almost everything. Let me go to the cross. Right, this cross, I'll just do a simple expression. Alt click on the rotation, and then I'll just do time asterisk 70. If I solo this and see the cross, let me fit to screen. Can you see what it's doing? That's basically it. So let me unsolo this. If I just scroll over this, this is what we have. But now I need to highlight all the keyframes, or almost all, apart from the one in the background. Then I'm going to do easy ease. Then I'll go to the graph editor. Maybe I'll highlight this first, then drag this to the side. Then I'll take this and then just squash it to the side like this. Okay, but uncheck this, and if I play this, I have something like this, which is cool. But now I want to start arranging them. I want to start offsetting them. First of all, then press U so everything can be closed up. I'll take my image stroke. So let me take this back. Take my image stroke to this point, and I'll move them 3 frames backward. So if I hold down Control and my arrow key to the right, 1, 2, 3, and I can zoom in, and then you can just move this to this point. I can just drag it to, let me just zoom out a little bit so I can see my 1 second. So before the 1 second mark, maybe somewhere here, and I think that's fine. So if I play this now, you can see we have this appearing like this. But in addition to this text, I need to add the text preset to this. So I'll press I to target the beginning. Then I'll just go to my effects console here and I'll type in random fade up. If I press U and I can zoom in, I can just adjust this to where this is. So I can highlight this, go to right click, go to easy ease, go to my graph editor and do the same animation curve. If I play this now, we have something like this, which is really cool. I think we are done with the animation for the first scene, which is really looking interesting. So all we need to do is to create our transition now. So now I'll go to my transition and I'm just going to create a solid, and I'm make sure it's at comp size, but then I'm just going to go to the height and then I'll just do divided by 4. If I click out, it's going to give me the results, and I'm going to change this to white and I'm going to click OK. We don't have to name this. I'll click OK and I'll have something like this. What I'll do is to make sure this is aligned to the bottom. Then I'll duplicate this, then this will be aligned to the top. Then I'll duplicate again, then drag this like this, then duplicate again, drag this below like this. It will be very hard for you to know how to just align everything. So what I'll do is highlight everything, then I'll just go to my align to and click on distribute vertically. So that should resolve it. I have something cool like this. So I'll go to the 1 second mark, then I'll just highlight all of this, press P for position, set this, then drag this back out, then I'll just drag this to the side. So let me zoom out a little bit. I zoom out and zoom in using my middle mouse. So let me just do this. I'm going to do easy ease, then go to my graph editor, do this. So if I play this now, this is what I have, which is great. I want to rearrange, so I'll click on this. I need to make sure that the next one should be follow it up like that vertically. This should go up, then this should here. So I have this, and this, which is great. So I cannot arrange them, I can offset them. Just take this and okay, and if I play this, I have something like this. So this is what we are going to be using for our transition. So now I need to go and create my final comp. Click on this and I'll name this final scene. I'll make it 10 seconds long, 30 frames per second, which is fine. I'll click OK. So I'll bring in my scene 1. Let me fit to screen. Then I'll bring in my transition, drag it below. So let me actually drag the scene 1 below, and then I'm going to do alpha matte. So if I play this now, you have something like this. One cool thing you can do is I can just align this to, then pre-compose, just name it scene 1 pre-comp, something like that. Click OK. I'll press my caps lock, it was on. Then I'll now duplicate this, then the one under I'll add effects fill. So the one under now, so let me solo the one under, has just red. What I'll do, I'll change this to white. Then I'll just deactivate this, then I'll offset this, the one on top, by 2 frames. 1, 2. If I play this now, I have something like this. And we are actually done with our scene 1. So what I like to do is to bring in the video asset that I have here. I'll bring it and drag it on top. And if I just scroll through this, can you see slight leaks? So I'll just change the blend mode of this to screen, and we have this lighting going on here. Of course, it's very strong, so I need to reduce the opacity. I'll reduce the opacity to about 8%. So we have that cool thing going on there. And of course, I need to add color correction. So I'll go to new adjustment layer, name this CC, and I'll click on this, control space, then I'll add curves to it, and I'll just, let me just zoom in to see what I'm doing. Then I can just crank this down a little bit just to have a little bit of contrast, then crank this up to a little bit so we have more contrast. So I'll go to the blue channel. That was the RGB. Now we're in the blue channel. I can just crank this up a little bit so it look more cool. This is without the color correction, and this is with the color correction, without with the color correction. Maybe it's too dark, so let me just come here and just bring this up a little bit. So that is it basically. So with a little bit of some trick which I'm about to just run through, I'm not going to start explaining, right? I'm just going to do fast forward so you can actually see how I'm going to do it, but I don't want to make this tutorial very long. You can really achieve a full scene. So let me just quickly run through it. All right, guys, so what I've done is to duplicate the scene and then have the reverse of it, thing to check, change the text, change the image, and I have this. And also I added some additional movement in the comp, right? Can you see that the image and the text still have this additional movement going in there? And of course, if you also notice right here, when this is moving, you can see that the scene one is also moving to the side. So what I did was to apply a position animation to match to that, so that it will look as if it's pushing it over. I really hope you do enjoy that. Don't forget, like I said, the project file is actually found in the link in the description, so you can have access to everything that I've done so far. And make sure you stay tuned for the last video that I'm going to be doing in this series. I'm pretty sure you're going to learn a lot. Please, if you are new to this channel, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you also like the videos. It will really help the channel. And see you in the next video. Take care.